A few people have noticed my little fabric basket that I use for my binding clips, so here's how to make them. You will need 4 10-inch squares of fabric. You could do 4 different pieces of fabric for a scrappy look like I have for my binding clips, or you could do 2 of the same for the outside and 2 of the same for the inside, or 4 of all the same, however you want to do it works. Then you'll need 2 10-inch squares of medium weight interfacing. This is the one I use. It's on my Amazon storefront. And then you will go ahead and follow the directions on the package for your interfacing and apply it to just 2 of your 10-inch squares of fabric. It does not matter if it'll be the inside or the outside. Here I put it on my 2 exterior pieces. Just know that whichever 2 pieces of fabric you pick, those 2 will be together. So they'll either be like the lining together or the outside together. Once you have done that, we are going to cut out 2.5-inch squares from the bottom 2 corners of all 4 pieces. If you're using directional fabric, make sure you check that you are cutting these from the bottom. You can do this by taking a small square ruler and marking them with a pen and then cutting them out with a fabric scissors. Or if you're a little bit crazy like me, just take your rotary cutter and get right into it. I actually like to keep these 2.5-inch squares that I cut out. This is like the same size as a mini charm pack, so you can save them and use them for other small projects. You can even peel off the interfacing on the interfacing pieces and save those ones too. Once you have cut out all of the bottom squares from all 4 pieces of your fabric, you're going to want to fold over the top edge here. It doesn't really matter how far over you fold it. I do 1/2 inch. It just matters that all 4 pieces are folded over the same amount, and then you give it a really, really good press. And you want to make sure that the press is good because we're actually going to unfold it in the next step, and you'll need to see where it is because you will fold it again after we have sewn. Now you want to place your 2 pieces of fabric that are going to go on the outside, right sides facing together, and the 2 for the inside, right sides facing together. We are going to unfold that fold at the top and sew along all 3 of these sides here. So the left, the right, and the bottom. Make sure you are not sewing through where we cut out those squares in the bottom corners. I'm using a 1/4 inch seam allowance here, and you are sewing through the fold open. So make sure that the fold is open and not still folded over. Once you have done that, this is what it should look like. And now I try to press the seams open as best as I can. When I take this to my iron, it actually helps if I kind of fold the seams back on one side, press them down, and then fold them back on themselves on the other side instead of trying to lay the piece like on its side and press them open, if that makes sense. And then once we have pressed these open, we actually fold that fold back down and over on itself. And now we are going to make our corners. So we are going to take where we cut out the 2.5-inch squares and pull it open like this and match up those 2 seams. Then sew a 1/4 inch from where that opening is to close up our square. You make sure you back stitch on the beginning and the end of the stitch here. Repeat this with the other 3 corners. So do this with both the lining pieces and the outside pieces. Once you have done that, you should have 2 inside out baskets. Now we're going to place them bottoms so that the bottom of both are touching, and then we are actually going to re-sew over where we just closed out those corners on both sides. So that is how we are attaching these 2 pieces together. It should kind of look like this. There's kind of like a hole in the middle after you've done it. Once these 2 pieces are put together, you can go ahead and turn one of them right side out, and we're almost done. You should be able to see your basket really shaping up here. Now I just line up the edges of both the lining and the exterior, and then I top stitch about 1/8 of an inch away from the top here to close everything up, and that is it. Then you can play around with it. These are reversible, so you can turn it right side out, fold over the edge, however you want it to look. These are so fun. I love the one I have for my binding clips. I also have 3 other ones in my girls' bathrooms for hair clips and hair bows. And this one I think I'm going to use for like my safety pins and other things in my sewing room. This comes together in less than a half hour. It's a great little weekend project if you are in between quilts or other big projects because it is quick and easy.